Hey guys, we got some set photos here from the Titans DC streaming service TV show. It's really going to be cool to see this. We had some set photos that came out a few days ago, so I figured I'd go over them and give you my opinion on them. So here we have Ryan Potter as Beast Boy, and we have Tina Croft as Raven Darkhold, and it's really going to be cool to see this. It's interesting to see that we have Beast Boy, and he has no makeup on, no CGI dots or anything like that to change his skin color or anything. So it's going to be cool to see where things going. I like the idea of the green hair, and the costume looks really cool. Looks more really comic book accurate from like the Teen Titans, more modern books, New 52 style costume that he had. I like this idea. And these are clearly like a set, like they're clearly in their like street clothes as they're filming in these scenes, and it's really going to be cool to see that. So I can't wait to see how this turns out post-production, how they're going to CGI his green face, how they're going to make him entirely green. Usually when they do that, they either put them in the CGI suit, or they put the dots in the face or something. The other mocap and pinpoints so the computer can see all the movements in the faces and stuff. So it's going to be cool to see where things go with this and how they do this in post-production. So, and then we get a first look here at and what looks like to be Starfire. We get Anna Dopp as Starfire. Now, this thing did come out on the internet a few days ago, and everyone kind of reacted to it, and she even responded to it. I'll put a picture up on the screen, and this is where she responded, where she commented about it, how this is clearly her civilian's clothes. This is taken out of context. This is not, obviously what she's going to look like, because this barely looks anything like Starfire. It's just the same colors as Starfire. So I think this is going to be pretty cool to see where things go with this idea. I like the look of it. I like the color scheme, which if this is, her civilian clothes, I think that's obviously what it is, but it looks kind of cool the way they did it, and I like the color aspect. It's going to be interesting to see how do they do this. How are they going to do this for Beast Boy and for Starfire? If they're not, putting the dots on them and dotting and mocapping their face, or doing any of those things that we've seen before. If you've seen the behind the scenes of Rogue One, how they did that Princess Leia scene, all they did is get Carrie Fisher to voice herself. She wasn't on there. They just had someone wear the dots, and they completely shrunk the person's face down type thing and put her old face on there. So I think it's going to be an interesting idea to see how they deal with this and how they do it on a TV budget. Now, if it has a budget like the Marvel Disney streaming service shows might potentially have up to $100 million for the entire 10 episodes, then there's no problem. There's no worry about it. So this is going to be interesting to see where things are going with this, based on some of the released and officially announced photos of Robin and the Hawk and Dove photos that we got. Those look pretty accurate, and those look really cool, and they look really well done. So I'm not really too worried about this, but it's just interesting to see how they're going to do it and how is it going to pull off when they're just CGIing over this without the markers, without anything like that. So that'd be cool to do that. Also, if they're not, let's say in this scene, she's not Starfire, she actually is this, they're not going to change anything in post too much with this scene, because this is how they wanted to look. Does Beast Boy have a way to turning his skin, to change his skin color from green, type thing, and how is Starfire doing the same thing, blending in with some sort of tech? I remember from the cartoons, the X-Men Evolution cartoons, Nightcrawler actually had a watch that Professor Xavier made him that allowed him to change his skin color, allowed him to hide his tail and things like that, that would allow him to blend in more into the crowd. So I think that could be an interesting idea if they want to play with that. I mean, you can't have someone, some pink alien and a blue guy and a purple guy trying to go on stealth missions and stuff, and trying to just be me running around, but it's going to be cool to see how they do that, and how do they do that. That doesn't change the fundamental part of the character, because the whole point about these two characters is that they can't go out in the in public. They're instantly recognizable. There's very hard for them to have a secret identity type thing. So I think this could be an interesting idea to play with that, and to see where things go and how they do it within the show. So we'll have to wait and see where things go from here. Here we get another shot again of Starfire and Raven. It looks pretty cool. I like the idea of this. Again, they look great. I love her hair. The shape of it looks really cool. How they're going a bit younger, obviously, with this casting and stuff. It's really going to be cool to see that. And then we get another shot here of Brendan Thawne as Dick Grayson. So that's what's really interesting. I mean, there's other photos of him, but it really doesn't show much. He's just in his street clothes. We don't really see him yet in his costume. So hopefully we get some set photos from that. This is just pretty cool there. Again, we get the green hair and we get Starfire and stuff. The next photo here, though, is really not not a set photos, but more of a production photo. And it's really going to be cool to see. It teases at some hinting at the storyline. So if you don't want to see some more, if you don't want to see a set photo, that could tease what characters cameo type thing, could be an interesting idea to play with that. So I guess minor spoilers coming up, or just kind of teases at what might be type thing. Well, I'll call it a really tiny minor spoilers if you don't want to see it, but otherwise, let's jump into it. So here we have a production photo that's announced, to people that there's certain streets are going to be closed and stuff. And I do this all the time. I remember my cousin, we lived up in Vancouver, got these for Flash and Arrow all the time. So it was really cool to seeing that, and it's quite interesting to see that they're, that they got this. But the cool part here is if we look here, if we zoom into the photo, we get one of the set description is Bruce's penthouse. Now, obviously, this, could be Bruce Wayne's penthouse. I think this is quite interesting to see that. Now, since you clearly have Dick Grayson showing up, maybe this could be just a penthouse that Bruce owns. It's literally in Bruce Wayne's name that Dick Grayson is borrowing, and we don't see Bruce Wayne in there. But the idea that Bruce Wayne or Batman could show up in here could be an interesting idea if he's there, to kind of give a little bit of help, kind of like in the Young Justice stuff, how Batman and Superman, all the Justice League, they're all there, but they're not really, they barely help out. They'll help out here and there at the end for the, maybe for the season battles and stuff, but mostly it's really, they're just there to kind of say, oh wow, you did a good job type thing, and that's it. I think that could be an interesting idea with Batman in this type of show. Obviously they're not going to have the whole Justice League there, because you have to cast a ton of people for the roles, but just having Batman, mentoring and watching over the Teen Titans could be an interesting idea to see that. Just every time they do something, he could probably confirm that yes, this is what this is what you're doing, or maybe they get their missions from Batman or something. I think this would be quite interesting to see that. And with the idea of this being the Robin, Dick Grayson, he's probably going to want to separate himself at the same time from Batman, because that's the whole point, is that he's about to become probably Nightwing at this point, if we go based on the comics. So I think that really could be an interesting idea, that he's, using Bruce Wayne's apartment, using Bruce Wayne's penthouse maybe, and we're going to wait and see how it kind of works with that relationship. Is Batman giving them the missions, or is he completely on their own doing things without Batman's approval type thing, or is he kind of he breaks the rules, but then it's okay because he ends up saving the day type thing. I think that could be cool. I know they played a lot with that on the Young Justice TV show. So all in all, this is really cool. I definitely can't wait to see where things go from here. It looks like we do have Dick Grayson is list here and stuff. So it's really going to be cool to see what this means, and if we get to see Bruce Wayne's penthouse. We get to see Bruce Wayne there. Do we get to see an Alfred? Do we get to see anyone like that? Maybe Bruce Wayne, even if Bruce is not physically there, maybe we could see, do we get to see pictures of him, do they actually cast an actor as him in photos or something? That could be really cool to see that. I think it'd be quite interesting to see in this. Although I could see them doing, if they do Batman on this show, I could see them doing it the way they did Superman on Supergirl for the first season, and not really casting someone, just showing us Batman and in the dark, in the shadows and stuff, and kind of not necessarily blurring his face, because you can just do it without actually the blurring, because the way they did it in Supergirl was okay, but it was just kind of like, oh, they're obviously always blurring his face. But with Batman wearing a mask and stuff, and you could just see him from the shadows type thing, it could be a really cool way to doing this, and having him in the show without actually casting anyone in the show. You can just put any stand-in person to do the role, and I think it'd be quite interesting to see that. It could be quite fun to get some information from Batman and things like that, to get some stuff, at least for the beginning. I think it could be cool, especially if this being the Dick Grayson version of Robin, and like I said, him trying to leave Batman, at least for the first episode, could be a cool thing, just to see him maybe a scene in the Batcave where Dick Grayson kind of ends up losing it, and just kind of, that's it, I quit, and he leaves, and that's where he storms out, and we don't see Batman since then, or some type thing. That could be quite fun to see in this. So all in all, this is really interesting to see. I definitely can't wait to see where things going with this. And again, these photos of Starfire look quite interesting. Obviously, it's clearly not her. It's going to be cool to see how they kind of turned out, and how it turns out in post-production, how she's going to look. Hopefully, they can release a photo soon. But I mean, if they're just going to have her in a CGI suit type thing, or something like that, that's just kind of on set, then there's no reason to put it out. They're probably going to show out Robin and Hawk and Dove, because eventually they will be in costume on set, and there'll be set photos. But for Starfire and Beast Boy, if they're completely CGI, then there's no need. You don't have to do that, because there won't be any spoilers, because set photos will just be CGI costumes type thing. So we'll have to wait and see where things go with this. So let me know what you think, guys, about these photos in the comments below. What do you think about the Batman versus Penthouse listing here? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes this is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.